Hi everyone, we are psyched. My name is Tania and this is my mom Brunel. Today we want to talk to you about some message that we have received, and mom really wants to talk about a message that she got more specifically about God. So, Mom.
Yeah, well, first of all, I received this message a long time ago, and I have to, in order to talk to you about this message, I will need you all to open your mind, because it is a message, as I say, it's a message I received. You don't have to agree with the message that I received, but I'm going to only ask you to search in yourself, in your mind, in your logic, and your intelligence, that what I'm going to tell you makes sense to you, because it makes sense, perfect sense to me. Especially now that we know so much about the universe, about the galaxies, the stars, and how vast the universe is. So once you put that in perspective of what I'm going to tell you, it's going to make sense. Okay, when you ask yourself, who is God? Ask yourself, who is God? And then a lot of people, when you say, you know God, are you, do you believe in God, or who is God? Most of the people, what they imagine, maybe in their, what they have in their mind, is this old man, long beard, long hair, with a stake sitting on a throne up there, looking down to the earth. If you think that that is God, you are so wrong. You are totally wrong. I was born and raised on the Catholic Church, Catholic beliefs. And I know that most of people that are Catholics, that's what they believe. That's what they think. This is an old man standing where? In the air? Up in heaven. So I am more than that. I consider myself an intelligent person. And I say, this doesn't make any sense to me. I know there is a God because I am here. So I want to know exactly what he is, where he is. So as I've been telling you before, once you ask a question like that, and you put all your soul into it and to receive the right answer, you will receive the answer. That's for sure. So what I receive, okay. We do have a God that is all love and care, perfect being, that is, he's a creator. He created us and everything. And we always say he, but I might say that is that surge of energy, yeah, doesn't have to have any sex at all. It's pure energy and pure love. So it could take a long time, but we have to go back to our beginning of everything as we know it. Is this being, God is this being that he created us, he made us perfect. We are part of him, so we are as perfect as he is. But we have to find in ourselves our perfection, and why we why this perfection of us? Because if you, I mean, you go to school, you study, and you know about our immune system, and you know that our body is perfect, but our spirit is more perfect actually than our own body. So we have this God that is the God of our human race. That is our God. The universe is too vast and too ginormous. I mean, that you cannot. I mean, you cannot. Your brain, can get.
It's unlimited.
It is, yeah. So yeah, and then everything is well organized in the universe. So everything has to be taken care of, basically. So so this God, our God of our race, is there for us. Where he's at, okay. Let's start.
There's a lot of theories.
Yeah,
but,
there's yeah.
But what is your
The message, because I'm just talking about the message I received. The message I received. Well, he sent Jesus to tell us exactly everything, basically everything. So we know where we came from,
how to live, how to be,
and how that's where he came from. I mean, he came for that purpose. That's what Jesus did. So he said, this is the way that you have to pray, the Lord's Prayer. How we start the Lord's Prayer? Our Father who art in heaven. Let's stop there. Okay, in heaven. Of course, we cannot say our Father who is in Orion's belt, or our Father who is in Antares, or something. So Jesus came here to say that it's in heaven because actually he is not in this planet. That's all he meant by that. He's our Father. He is in heaven because he's not here. So, so what that means? That means that being is somewhere watching and taking care of us from wherever that being is. There's more of us. There's more of humans in this universe or in this galaxy, might be. That I'm not sure. I didn't receive anything specifically if it was in the whole universe or in our galaxy. Or I imagine that our race, is a perfect race. So I imagine that it has to be somewhere else in the universe. But what I'm sure is that we have this being that we call God, that is all merciful and all love, that take care of us, that love us. And when I received that message, I felt more loved and more protected than I've ever been in my entire life. Once that made sense to me, I said, oh, thank you, Jesus, for letting us know that we have this Father that is so perfect and want us to know that we are as perfect as He is. That we have just to find in ourselves that perfection. That was one of the most beautiful messages that I received. There's some other things that I received, but basically that is what I would like you all to know first, that we do have a God that is not an old man just standing, sitting in a throne wherever. It's a real being. It's real. He's in another place, maybe in another planet that I didn't make, that I didn't receive that exactly where he's at. But he's somewhere in the galaxy or in the universe that he can just take care of us. And that's why whenever you ask for his help, whenever you ask God, this is happening in my life, and whatever if you are receptive to whatever he's going to tell you, you're going to receive the message. You're going to know what to do and where you're going to go from there, whatever you ask for. When Jesus came here, he just wanted to make sure that that's the way we have to live, and not what it was, the way that we used to live thousands and thousands years before. He came here to straighten this up, to make sure that from now on, from when he came in here to this earth, that you know what to do, that you know who you are, and that was the most important thing that I could take from this message, and so you don't have to agree with me, like I said, but just look inside of you, your logic, your intelligence, just look and see if that makes sense to you the same way it makes sense to me.
Yeah, there there are many different theories out there, and there's one that is either, I don't know if it's Hindu or it's a very old teaching that talks about this entities that used to be on Earth and created humans. And either one of them was Thaw, or something like that, or the God of what we know as God is Thaw. So if you're interested, look it up. There's other videos on YouTube that talk about that entity, and it's very interesting because how it plays is like he was the creator of this, he raised this planet, and that he's still here somewhere on Earth. But you also got to think of all those beings as what they are, which they are very interdimensional, right? So they could be right in front of us, but we can't see them because we can't tune into that dimension. So when mom told me that, we were talking about it the other day, and I was like, well, you should really look into this theory, because I saw a video once and it was really interesting, because as I was watching the video I was like, yeah, that kind of actually makes sense to me. And we really got to see the universe as it is. It's just this big place where it really makes sense if they are different creators that are in charge of a certain,
maybe different
space.
galaxies, different systems.
Yeah. And and I had a vision a long time ago, like 20 years ago or so, of how when something major happened in the universe, like some kind of big event in the world, or other worlds, that there would be like a council type of meeting where all these creatures from all different I want to say parts of the universe
Yes.
will meet and decide what. And at the time, again, I was like, that's kind of odd. Why am I getting this? And it does kind of make sense, right? Like that a group of entities will come together and be like, well, how can we solve this issue? How can we make it better? That just one big entity taking care of everything. And I mean, it could be either way. It could be like I was saying, like group of creators that get together and kind of see where they can steer things to a better way. Or it could be, if you think of the archangels, it could be the archangels who get together with God, if you want to see it, and he's the CEO, and then things kind of move, like a company or whatever. And the reason why it makes sense to me is because that's how everything is on the earth. That's how everything functions on the earth, and that's how everything kind of functions in every other planet that we know of, or been in communication either directly or other people that we know that can talk with other beings. That's kind of how they work. They work in a council kind of system where they get together and decide what is best for them, what is best for their race. So it kind of makes sense that that's just kind of how it is, up in the highest of levels.
Yeah, the organization of the universe, because it's too vast, it's too big.
Yeah.
So there have to be beings that are assigned to each. I mean, a section of the universe, I might say.
And it's interesting too that there's a lot of theories out there, or I want to say theories, just like folklore, I think is the word that I'm trying to say, and even in stories, like in movies and comic books, and we see that theme of this one being in charge of this part of the universe, and then it insinuates that there's other beings in other parts of the universe taking care of that. And I don't think that information, that creativity, that idea just comes to somebody and they completely make it up. It's something that they are taking from the universe. I had this vision, I think it was this morning or yesterday, where I was clearly told that everything was written. Everything that happens is written in stones, and there's no deleting it.
Yes.
There's absolutely no. Something happens, it's reading, and it's like that. And we have the ability to go inside that library, or
that's the word I was thinking.
Whatever you want to
call it. It's like a library.
And access that information. And as a creative being, we get very in tune to what's really written in there. I don't believe that anybody is making stories up. Even as a writer myself, my stories don't come out of like this thing inside me that is making it up. It's coming out of that library. And I had that vision, and it was very, very clearly. And the more in tune, the more open you are to it, the more access you have.
Yes.
And it's something that also the powers of be are very, very aware of, and they have tried many, many, many times to delete that, but they can't. And they can't control that. And that is why you see so many of evil plans and conspiracies and things like that coming out on movies, coming out on stories and books, because those creative humans are subconsciously getting that from there. Whether or not it's God trying to get them to, like, open people's eyes or whatever, I don't know. But what I do know is that they have tried to delete it, and they are trying really hard to delete it, but they can't. There's no way to delete it. It's there.
Yeah.
And all you gotta do is find it, find it in you to tune in there. Think, to tune to that frequency to take you to that library. So just like you are, listening to the radio, just try to find that station that opens the door for you to go in that library, and you will see it and you will read it, and you will know that is true. It's like an instant just knowledge. Like there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt that what you're reading is true. It's kind of cool. Yeah. And I think that knowing that is there, and knowing that we all have the access to, because we are beings. I mean, that was written for us.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was written by some kind of being, and you have to be that being to get in there. It is written. It's written by us. It's written for us, by us. So all of us have the ability to go in there. Think of the Akashic records. Is that Akashic records? Something that Casey. I can't remember his name. A really famous psychic.
Yeah.
He was the first person that talked about that. But it's exactly that. It's everything that has ever happened in the universe and the world as we know it, and we all have access to it. And it's simpler than you think. Honestly, all you got to do is open your eyes. Just open your eyes. Be open to whatever information you're going to receive. Yeah. Regardless of how crazy it sounds, regardless of how it makes you feel, whatever, you gotta be open to everything that you're going to get.
Yeah, and you have to wake up your brain. You have to wake up. You have to see things with logic. Things that doesn't make sense, it's because they don't. It's
not necessarily that. Something might not make sense because you don't understand it.
Yes.
Or you can't comprehend it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just still take that information that you're getting.
Exactly.
Write it down, whatever you need to do. And the other thing that you need to do is find time to be in a position where your head is clear, and you can receive that information. Because, if you've never done this before, if you're not open or already connected to it, it's going to be really hard for you to receive, to be able to enter that library if you don't have a state of mind where you're peaceful and opening and open to receiving stuff. So if you're in the middle of a conversation with somebody, if you're in your house and there's a lot of going on, or you're at work or whatever, you're not going to receive anything because there's too much going on and you can't focus on. Somebody like me, though, there's chaos can be happening around me and I still receive stuff.
That's true.
So when you haven't done it before, just find a time. Go outside, or sometimes like I do, I just take a shower, and the sound of the water kind of cancels everything else. Yes. So it's calming. Yeah. Go somewhere that you can have a little bit of peace and sit there, find that peace, open yourself up, and ask God, here I am, please show me. And you will get stuff, and you will receive information. Again, don't go like, well, I can't, this doesn't make any sense, so I'm going to stop receiving information because it doesn't make any sense to you, or because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not going to comprehend it right away.
Exactly.
Because as you're opening yourself up to the reality, you're going to start seeing things that you didn't know that existed. You didn't know that it was possible. Yep. Because once you see how everything is, and once you really open your eyes, you start to see things and you're like, what? What? Like, how did I not see this before? And how is this happening and nobody else knows about it? Yeah. So it might not make sense right away, but we just receive it, write it down, and keep doing it until you become more comfortable.
Yeah.
And you can always, like, you receive something, it doesn't make any sense, like, why am I receiving this thing? Just write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And we're blessed at a time where technology, it's available to us, and the internet is still available to us, so you can just go do a research, see if somebody else has gotten something like that, or if somebody else or something like that is a thing, whatever you're receiving, and you'll really be surprised, and I when I first did I did a past life regression on myself the first time I got one. I was getting all this information of my past lives that, it kind of, not that it didn't make sense, I was just like going along with it and everything. And then I did it before I went to work. And when I went to work, thank God it was a slow day. We didn't have a lot of work. So I went online and I started Googling things and I was amazed to find how pretty much all the lives that I remembered during that regression, everything just fell into pieces, like things in history and stuff that I didn't know about, that or that I wasn't 100% sure or whatever. It didn't matter, because when I did the research, it fell everything. The years that I was getting, the situations that I went through, it was things that happened in the same year, and things like that. The names that I was getting from people, sometimes I would get names and I'm like, that doesn't make sense that somebody was named like that, but it was a name that it was common, or it was given, and it was a common thing back then, or whatever, that I didn't know about. Just details like that you are not taught in history or whatever. So and I receive all those details and stuff because I was open to it, even though at the time during my regression, in the back of my head I was going like, was it did that happen around that year or in that country or whatever? There was still this voice kind of doubting everything that I was seeing. But even though I had that voice, I was still letting my subconscious tell the story, and like I said, when I went to work, I went to Google and I started doing all the research and years, and this happened around this year or whatever, and it was like on point, everything, and it was crazy. So I tell that to tell you that that's kind of the same thing that's going to happen to you when you try to enter that library.
Yeah.
You're going to receive a lot of things and read a lot of things that might not make sense to you, because it's something that it wasn't taught to you in school, or something that was taught differently when you went to school. So either way, take that information, and if you don't understand it, find a way to understand it. You're going to find something out there that talks about whatever crazy thing that's coming.
Yeah, you have to find in yourself,
Yeah.
because that's what is going to happen. And as I say, trying to use your logic in things, you started reading the Bible and reading things that doesn't, so why? I mean, you start asking questions, for just and you know what, you will know the answer. You don't have to go anywhere to receive the answers. You don't have to go anywhere. Just use your logic and just go deep inside of you. And then if this happened this way, how come this other thing happened? Just let me give you an example. The Adam and Eve situation. Cain killed his brother, and then he left the paradise where they were, and then he left, and then he started his own family. Okay, let's stop there. Isn't Adam and Eve the first two? Who he married to? A monkey? I mean, you start using your logic, and that doesn't make any sense,
Well, we also got to think that the reality is that not everything is written on the Bible as we know it. We all know that there are things that
Like symbolic or
have been
something?
kept-
Maybe
no, no, no,
symbolic?
no. We all know that there's things that have been kept from us.
Oh yeah, well that's true. That's true.
So the Bible as we know it now, as we have it, the one that you have right now in front of you or in your library or wherever, does not contain all the information. And what it contains is all control information. You know, it's like that because that's what the powers that be wanted it to be. And it's up to us to fill in the gaps.
Yes.
Just like there's information there that is not necessarily what happened, you know.
Yeah, that's what my father always told me. Whenever you're going to start reading a Bible, a chapter or any of the book of the Bible or whatever, you have to ask for illumination first.
Illumination.
Illumination. You ask your guides to let you know the truth of where you are, of what you're going to read. My father used to say that, and he had all the reason in the world. You know, he was very right on what he was saying, because that's what you need to get first is illumination,
Yeah.
and just distinguish of what is truth and what is not, and you will see how different you're going to read the Bible, how different everything is going to be.
Yeah. So I think we're going to leave it.
Yeah, leave it like that
this today.
Yeah.
We try to make a video at least once a week, but there are times that lately we both have been feeling kind of out of it. I think it's just how things are getting to an overboil. Is what I was telling Mom. Like things have been boiling for a while, but we're reaching a point where the water is coming out of the pot. So it's been kind of tough to focus and to make the time to sit down and deliver messages to you. So we're trying to do it at least once a week. Hopefully, at one point, we'll do it at least twice or 3 times. That my goal is to do 3 videos a week. So we'll get there eventually.
But please, we want to, as I always say, we want to hear from you. We want to know your opinion. We want to know what you received. Did you receive the message? We want to know that too. We want to know that too.
We would love for you to comment or send us a message. If you are watching on Facebook or Instagram, please go to YouTube and like and make sure that you're subscribed and share. You can find us on Telegram. The link is below. And you can also talk to us there. Give any questions or anything that you might want to know. And I think that's it. So please like and subscribe. Don't forget that, and share the video. Please, we want to get our message out there. And the only way that we do that is through you guys. You guys are the
and please take care. Take care of yourself and just see the light. See the light.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.